Train your agents and arm your city watch. It's time for Edge of Darkness from AEG. Today we have been blessed with a prototype version of the game, so the pieces that come with your version might look a little bit different. This card crafter by John D. Clare pits 2 to 4 players against one another in a struggle for reputation within the metropolis of Aegis. However, the city lies on the edge of the Forsaken Lands, a region infested with demons and monsters, which players will have to fight off throughout the game. Setup begins with the game board placed center and the 2 optional expansion boards on either side if you have the room. Place 10 location boards of your choosing, 5 on each side, along with their corresponding card advancements on the extensions. Create pools for the influence tokens, Aegisian coins, and reputation tokens. Construct the tower nearby and place the black threat cubes into the bag along with 15 colored cubes for each guild in the game. Next, each player chooses a guild color and takes their player board, the matching 10 agents, placing 4 in the trained area and 6 in the untrained spaces, 10 player aid tokens, 1 reference card, 1 defense track token placed at the top of the track, 4 influence, 5 coins, 2 random cubes from the threat bag placed in the threat zone, and their 4 guild starter cards, 3 citizens and 1 patrician. Lastly, create the shared central deck by taking the neutral cards and removing any that have an indicator number higher than the number of players. Shuffle them, deal 3, and place the rest in the discard pile. Those 3 cards go onto the tower, with the monster side, known as the Blight side, visible. These represent the incoming attacks from the Forsaken Lands. Before gameplay really begins, we start with our prologue. Randomly assign the first player marker and place the round marker on the board. In this phase, players draft card advancements beginning with the first player by choosing any one of them from the board and sleeving it into one of their 4 guild starter cards. They may then activate and resolve the effect of that advancement, provided it's a prologue legal ability. Consult the rulebook for advancements you've selected in this game. As the draft order bounces back around, players choose a second advancement as well and activate it, but no one can choose an advancement already selected in the prologue by another player. Once everyone has upgraded 2 cards, each player chooses one of their unupgraded cards and places it into their guild hall. All the remaining cards are then combined with the neutral cards in the discard pile and shuffled to create our main deck. Place these cards city side up and lay out the top 5 cards along the open spaces known as the street. Gameplay is divided into rounds, each split into 2 phases. First, the assembly phase. During this phase, players take cards from their guild hall to start their hand, and then, beginning with the first player, they draft cards from the street up to a hand limit of 3. So in the first round, players will take 1 card from their guild hall and 2 from the street. When drafting, a player must draft from the rightmost space on the street unless they pay 1 influence per card to skip down the line. Any future player who drafts a card with influence on it takes the token and flips it to the yellow side, known as goodwill. Goodwill goes towards your reputation at the end of the game. After each draft, the remaining cards slide down and the player moves their threat cubes onto their cards, drawing new threat cubes from the bag equal to the number shown on their newly drafted hand. In the action phase, players take turns in clockwise order resolving actions. First, they drop any cubes on their hand into the tower. Ooh yeah! As the cubes land in the trays below, the color in the majority corresponds to the player whom the monster above will attack. Black means the monster attacks all players simultaneously. However, a monster will only attack once a certain number is reached. 6 for 2 players, 7 for 3, 8 for 4. Ties mean the monster attack both or all players. When the monster attacks, it deals damage equal to its damage rating. If the player cannot mitigate any of the attack, the monster strikes, and regardless of how much damage, the player only lowers their damage track by 1. This means they will have less reputation at the end of the game. Next, the player takes a variety of actions in any order of their choosing. Though a player may optionally activate any of the effects on their cards, they must at one point choose an advancement and sleeve it into any one open card in their hands. They may then activate that new effect if they wish. The slot location on the card doesn't matter, a player may pick whichever from the pile fits their open space. Some of these actions require agents, one of the main action resources of the game along with your Aegisian coins. Use the trained agents to activate locations, build income, train more agents, and even sway neutral cards to your allegiance, just as a taste. Because cards are part of the shared deck, in future rounds you may draft some of your opponent's cards. If you use an ability on an opponent's card, pay 1 coin to the owner for the use of their operative. Once a player has chosen their actions and sleeved a new advancement, they also have the option of resolving any unused cards by discarding them. Discarding a single card allows a player to return a placed agent back onto their player board. Discarding 2 cards allows a player to activate any one ability of a card on the street, as if it was in their hand. Once the player is finished with their actions, they discard their hand, but pass over any opponent's cards in their possession this round, which go into that player's guild hall. Therefore, drawing an opponent's card into your hand means they have access to it next round. Once all players have completed their action phases, pass the first player marker counterclockwise. Yes, that's right, I said counterclockwise. And a new round begins. The various location boards in the game allow players to create reputation from many different strategies, depending on the locations chosen during your setup. A few options include increasing hand size at the Mill Hollow farm town, swaying neutral cards to your allegiance at Capitol Hall, mitigating damage from the monsters at the City Watch, training new agents at the university, or taking the fight to the Blight by attacking monsters at the War Council. After 8 rounds are complete, the game ends and players tally their reputation. Leftover influence, coins, and goodwill are all pooled together and each worth a quarter of a reputation point. Additionally, each trained agent and each card ability within a card owned by your guild, including your starter abilities, is worth 1 point. Then add all the reputations still left on your defense track. Highest score wins the game. And that's Edge of Darkness. I'm Becca Scott, and you can watch me play this game and other sweet games on Game the Game right here on Geek and Sundry. I'll see you there.